what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Santee here. Just doing a quick throw up here on Facebook because got the StreamYard, so I might as well use it, right? Is it clear? Oh, good. Okay, here it is. As you can hear, the air conditioner is blasting. So just want to do this quick throw up. This is basically just something out there to let you guys know that we're getting it pumping, celebrating 375 episodes in the books, and just want to have some just quick banter, quick talk, just quick conversation. So this is just a quick cutting a promo, guys. So let's get it.
Turnbuckle Tabloid cutting a promo.
So cutting a promo this week, I've been holding it back for a while because there was so much going on with WWE and in wrestling and such, so I've been holding back this cutting a promo basically because I felt that it's funny because this came to me one evening while we were discussing name changes, and I knew a lot of wrestling fans would be upset about when wrestlers get their name changed, especially when it's in WWE doing it. When the WWE organization would do this, and everybody would blame Vince and throw Vince up on the cross and crucify him for changing wrestlers' names. Then with this past week with the return of Karrion Kross, it really dawned on me on when it came to name changes, which is, you'll be shocked to learn that for me, I agree with it. Yes, I hate that Pete Dunne isn't Butch. It's Butch now, that he's not Pete Dunne. Io Shirai has now become Io Sky, and so forth and so forth. And a lot of times, yes, although it doesn't change the wrestler, at times it changes the gimmick. But the name itself, for many instances, doesn't make the wrestler. I know a lot of times that people are like, they were that instance where, why the fuck they calling him Bearcat Lee when he was, when Keith Lee was there? And you'll always get the call up, and when the call up happens, you get, oh no, we know they're gonna get their name changed. We know it. It's gonna come down. Right. So with me, I finally came to the realization, which is when WWE comes up with their homegrown talent, like Bianca Belair or Otis or Chad Gable, of them sorts, they already have an instance of that person, that that gimmick they're gonna go with. They'll even ask the wrestlers. We've heard numerous stories where Vince had asked their wrestlers, "What do you got, kid? What gimmick you gonna use? What name do you have?" Mick Foley always told stories about the Mutilator, Marvin the Mutilator. Stone Cold talked about that he was possibly Chili McFreeze or something like that, until finally it came around that he was Stone Cold. And sometimes it takes a little bit more from the wrestler to come out with their own name, and after the numerous writers who come up with a name for you, a gimmick for you. And in many instances that, yeah, it fits, and in certain instances, no, it doesn't work. We looked in the time of NXT where a lot of those talents were coming in, the Tyler Breezes, the Rusev. And Vince also likes to, because remember, Rusev used to be Alexander Rusev. Then he just became Rusev. And he's quick to do that. Like, he's quick to just make them one name. Cesaro was Antonio Cesaro before he became Cesaro, period. And sometimes it works. Like, those things just work because it's catchy and it's there. I know a lot of you guys are still sitting there trying to figure out, is theory going to work? But so far, you know, many people have been gravitating to that. Austin Theory became Theory. And then you wonder about the guys who were coming in from the indies, who came in and they were Tyler Black became Seth Rollins. You know, John Moxley became Dean Ambrose. And they didn't change them. They kept it. You know, they left them the way they were when they went to the main roster. Sometimes on the main roster, you got to tweak a little bit. So this is what I've come up with, the whole name change. And I personally agree with the name change. It took a long time for me to get there, but I've gotten to the point where I agree with it. Hell, the shirt that I'm wearing is a Macho Man shirt, but when he came into the WWE, he wasn't Macho Man Randy Savage, he was Randy Poffo. He had to come up with a gimmick name, his name had changed. But for this day and age with the wrestlers, name change is good. Name change helps. Name changes help to develop the person, but also protects the wrestler. How, you may ask? How, you may ask? Well, let's say Cesaro came in with Claudio Castagnoli, right? Let's say he came into the main roster with that, right? What is the first thing that WWE will do? They will try to trademark it. They will try to take it. They will try to own it. Same thing when you heard the stories about Keith Lee. They were trying to own it. They were trying to trademark it. They were trying to make it their own. Look at Miro. Miro leaves. Couldn't take Rusev with him. Came up with his own. Right? WWE protects these names just in case the wrestler decides to leave, and when they come back, it's under their trademark, their name. It's theirs. They own it. Right? But you also got to take in consideration the wrestlers, once they get to the main roster, that they were using their names in the indies. So what happens when their names are in the indies and you want to bring them into the NXT or WWE? Like I said, WWE is going to want to own it. They're going to want to possess that. Okay. So now when you go to the indies, what happens now? Can't use the name you used to use in the indies anymore because WWE owns it. Now you got to come up with a new name. You got to come up with a different name. It's actually it's a double-edged sword because the name could get you recognition and sell, but also it's of that ilk as well that you won't be able to use anymore. It's done. It's over with. So what happens? I think WWE is actually protecting these wrestlers, and I think they're protecting the name, the brand of that individual, because when they go back on the indie scenes, you can go back to the name that they knew you of prior. Cesaro left, went to AEW. Now he's Claudio again. You remember him as Claudio, right? Moxley left. Ambrose left. Went to the AEW. Now he goes back to the name he used to use. Well, his name, Moxley. I think it does them justice to protect the wrestlers by doing that. At first I had to push back to it as well. I was like, man, fuck, they're fucking it up. They're fucking these guys up, man. Here comes with a stupid name. But if that moment comes, unfortunately, when Pete Dunne is no longer with WWE, he's not going to be Butch anymore, thank goodness. You'll be Pete Dunne. Now, here's the interesting part. The old man isn't there anymore. The old man is gone. New regime is there. Does the new regime continue with the same methods and measures that they were using with the name changes before? Or does the new regime allow these wrestlers to continue to use their name that they were known for in the indies? For instance, there's rumors and talks that T-Bar will be getting a gimmick change soon. Now, T-Bar was formerly Dominik Dijakovic. In other promotions, he was Dominik Dijak. The Dijakovic name is WWE owned. Now, would he become Dominik Dijakovic again? Or will he become Dominik Dijak? Or would he even be any of those because they already have a Dominik on there right now? So he can't be a Dominik, so would he just be Dijakovic? Everybody said the same thing about Volta when he went to the main roster. Now he became Gunther. You knew him from the Indies, so now when he goes back to the Indies, he can be Volta. He doesn't owe anybody for using that name, right? He's good. I think I think it helps. I think it works. And I think it helps the wrestler to keep their familiarity in which the wrestling community remembered him as to what they were. It's interesting because, you look at the roster now and you ever wonder that if without certain name changes, would it exist or would it even matter? The only one that's really bothering me these days is the Pete Dunne one. That one kind of bothers me. The whole Butch thing, that one kind of bothers me. But for the long run, hey, I could get used to Io Sky. That's okay. I've gotten used to the Theory. I've gotten used to Gunther, actually. As stupid as I thought it would be, especially what it initially was because somebody didn't do their homework. But even Ludwig, I've gotten used to. A lot of this stuff you get used to after a while. It's just that Butch thing. He deserves better than that shit. When we come back, we're going to have around the square circle. We're going to have a discussion about what's been happening in the current climate of wrestling. We have to touch up on this every week, especially what's been happening, what's going on. Karrion Kross is back. We'll talk about that. And he was able to use Killer Kross when he was in the Indies. That's where we knew him from. But much, much more, guys. So don't go anywhere. For you guys who were partaking and who watched on the stream, hey, this was just me just giving a test run. Finally got the audios right. Finally realized what I had to do with that. And thank you guys for partaking. We've got much more to talk about. Make sure you guys, for full episodes, download, follow, subscribe, feel the vibe on all your podcasting outlets. This is where the bread and butter is made at, on the podcasting outlets. It's not on the live streams. It's not on the YouTubes. It's not on the Twitches, although I do enjoy the sharing up there. But you guys, I would prefer you sit back and listen and not have to be so visual. Just listen to what's going on. I know. We live in a visual age, but for me, it's more of my auditory way of connecting with you guys. So make sure you download, subscribe, be a part of it, and check you guys later. See you guys in a second.